Yes, that's what it looked like. And Bibi was dog walking him for sure and taking advantage of his senility and his also rabid Zionism. Having said that, however, ultimately, this was still a part of America's imperial ambition, and I think they overstepped. This is why I said Palestine and Israel's genocide over Palestinians has laid bare for all to see the Western world's depravity. Okay, straight up, things are changing. The entire world is witnessing in my opinion, very consequential change in the way things have worked so far. Is the arrest warrant released after the SA case at the ICJ? No. The International Court of Justice prosecutes nations. The International Criminal Court prosecutes people. So the ICC prosecution is for individuals that happen to be in charge of nations doing a genocide. And for the record, a lot of people say, Hassan, you say America bad, but why do you always say America bad, but you never follow it up? Well, those people go, la, 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 I can't hear you when I follow it up. You must understand something very important right now. It is not an accident that every single senator and every single congressperson in the United States of America, with the exception of like a handful, are currently tweeting like they're Sephiroth. They're all out there tweeting like anime villains. They're baying for blood. They're seeing red. They're like, we have to nuke The Hague. Down to the wire. Down to the likes of Thomas Cotton. The ICC is a kangaroo court and Kareem Khan is a deranged fanatic. Woe to him and anyone who tries to enforce these outlaw warrants. Let me give them all a friendly reminder. The American law on the ICC is known as the Hague Invasion Act for a reason. Think about it. Whoo, they're cackling all right. Whoo, the U.S. rejected the warrant. We knew that they were going to reject the warrant. They have been actively pressuring the ICC's warrant application to not go through until this very moment. So that is not surprising to me, nor is it shocking to me. America can say whatever the fuck it wants. They will cope and they will seethe. EU Secretary of State. Oh God, I'm so hard right now. I'm not even hard. I'm just elated. Okay. You, if you defend Israel, okay, suck my dick. Woo! So good. Oh, I feel so good. We're playing propaganda again. Yes, this is a very famous pro-Palestinian song. So of course it's inherently going to be considered anti-Semitic because the existence of Palestine and the existence of Palestinians and any sort of mention of Palestine or Palestinians is inherently anti-Semitic according to those who choose to silence any sort of criticism. So do they also disagree with the decision to issue warrants against Hamas leaders? No, that part also is like so inconsequential in the grand scheme of things because that part is expected. The unexpected part is that someone that is firmly within the American sphere of influence, but not necessarily just in the American sphere of influence, but also protected by the American government so thoroughly could ever be declared a war criminal. This is unique. This is new. This is a welcomed correction. Oh my God. Also, most of the Palestinian leadership that they declared war criminals for October 7 have been assassinated by Israel regardless. So this was this is exactly what I thought as well. State Department press briefing canceled for today. Oh no. Oh no. Please do not laugh at this. State departments only do this when they are in great distress. Okay. Citizens arrest time, baby. Citizens arrest time, baby. Something I noticed in my EU country subreddit suddenly seemed to be much more pro-Palestine after this warrant. Typical just a week ago, it was people who are pro-Israel. Yeah, a lot of liberals do care about these institutions. They have not had the same cynical framework that I have been operating with because I wasn't just cynical. I was just realistic about the way things work, right? They do care about that sort of thing. So it'll be much, much, much harder for them, I think, to defend this. Yeah, look at that. Look at the retaliation. Award-winning investigative journalist fighting for the truth. ICC judges, we know that in reality we don't have jurisdiction, but let's try and arrest the Jews anyway. The ICC's a anti-Semitic kangaroo court. They want to arrest us for doing a bit of war crimes. Israeli Prime Minister also called it a anti-Semitic. The anti-Semitic decision of the International Criminal Court is a modern Dreyfus trial and will end the same way. Israel utterly rejects the false and absurd charges of the International Criminal Court a biased and discriminatory political body. No war is more just than the war Israel has been waging in Gaza since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas terrorist organization launched a murderous assault and perpetrated the largest massacre against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. The decision to issue an arrest warrant against the prime minister was made by a corrupt chief prosecutor who was trying to save himself from sexual harassment. See, this is what I mean, bro. Immediately, they were like, what can we do here? What can we do about Karim Khan? Oh, he's a sexual assaulter, actually. And it was funny because, like, even Western media that normally would, jump to cover these sorts of things because they love this sort of shit, we're like, yeah, well, we want to take the allegations seriously. The timing of them were quite interesting. It could be potentially a made up by Israel. Come on, dude. He said, calling us war criminals for doing a genocide is anti-Semitic. Also, you're a sexual harasser. The ICC prosecutor lied when he told American senators that he would take no action until he had visited Israel and heard its side. Instead, he canceled his arrival in Israel last May, several days after suspicions of sexual harassment were made against him, and announced his intention to issue arrest warrants against Prime Minister and former defense minister. No anti-Israel decision will prevent the state of Israel from defending its citizens. Notice how he's mentioning sexual harassment twice now. I think the sexual assault allegations are actually credible, but it's obviously irrelevant as to whether Netanyahu is guilty. Look, man, all I'm going to say is this, okay? It has no bearing on Karim Khan's prosecution of Israel, okay? The state that literally was like, oh, shit, we might actually get in trouble. Let's use complementarity to our advantage and prosecute some of the people that were doing mass rapes in the prisons. And then they couldn't even do that because they had an armed January 6th style rebellion where they forcibly freed the rapist and made him a television star. The Israeli Knesset members turned around and were like talking about how, you don't understand. Actually, the IDF does have a right to rape Palestinians. The are you talking about? Get the out of here. They had a rape January 6th, man. The do you mean? Some of you motherfuckers have no way of looking at a situation like this and immediately jump whatever. Like, it works. It works for a lot of you. Look, I've never read a Western media report that immediately was like, there was sexual harassment allegations, but the timing of that is very suspicious considering how much Israel has tried to intervene in the ICC. I'm sorry. They could be credible. They could. Okay. But if you think this has any bearing on this prosecution, you are delusional and you're the biggest god mark, the biggest sucker, the biggest rube of all time. Okay. It's like the former prosecutor, they literally personally harassed the former prosecutor before Karim Khan. You understand that, right? Like, they surveilled the former prosecutor before Karim Khan. They got America to place sanctions on the former prosecutor before Karim Khan. Yeah, they were stalking her. I covered it extensively. Israeli spy chief threatened ICC prosecutor over war crimes inquiry. They tapped her phones to see exactly what she was actually going to create a case around so they could go back and like do some sort of prosecution to be like, what are you talking about? You can't interfere in our affairs. We're a democratic organization. We have democratic governance. We actually investigate our own war crimes, specifically the ones that, we figured out by surveilling and tapping the phones of the former ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda to see exactly which war crimes she was actually focusing on so that we could actually use complementarity to our advantage as a deflection, as a shield. It's insane, okay? The well is endless for depravity. Just to help you understand a little bit about what is going on here. And there's a lot to talk about, but let's finish this Channel 4 thing and then we'll talk about
starving children, dangerously malnourished. Amputations performed without anesthetic.
Yeah, remember, it's important to also remember why Benjamin Netanyahu is considered a war criminal now, and so is Yoav Gallant, and so is many members of the Israeli occupying forces, and many people who have offered them credence, offered them protection, offered them guidance. This includes American leadership as well. Just recognize that, this is the reason. It's not for no reason, and it's certainly not because of anti-Semitism, okay?
Families killed. Israel's war in Gaza has been filled with horrors that are hard to fathom. Israel accused of deliberately blocking aid, even as a humanitarian crisis deepens. Today, it led to arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, being issued by the International Criminal Court for their alleged role in the suffering. Judges ruled there are reasonable grounds to believe they are responsible for the war crime